The word socialist has been thrown around a lot the past few decades in America. This world was synonymous with communism and Soviets. These words used to bring fear on the American people because it stood for everything that we were against. We used to value our individual liberties and freedoms. Today, the word socialism is not only accepted, but is being shouted from the rooftops by Americans. Today, I'm going to explain how this philosophy has not only taken hold of our society's minds, but is actually being implemented and why we must put a stop to it. In the healthcare arena is where we hear the word socialized and socialism most commonly used. The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is at the forefront of the socialized healthcare movement. This was a 906-page document outlining something even the members of Congress couldn't tell you. I believe it was Nancy Pelosi who said, "We have to pass it in order to find out what's in it." But I'm sorry, as a member of Congress, isn't it your job to read the bill before you just pass one? This is only the beginning. According to Fox News and PolitiFact.com, Congress even attempted to exempt itself from the new law. Now, if socialized medicine is so great and they passed it, then why then are they trying to exempt themselves from it? This story broke. Once this story broke about them trying to exempt themselves from this law, our illustrious so-called public servants denied all claims and then retracted their attempt. Besides our leaders' lack of faith in this law, this is hurting small business, hospitals, and doctors alike. This bill is pushing money away from Medicare. The millions on Medicare are feeling the effects of it already. In the arena of physical therapy, if you're a Medicare patient under Obamacare, the government reserves the right to just discharge you, regardless of what your personal doctor says. If you don't believe me, you can ask any small physical therapy practice, including here in town, including this one. You can ask them how they've lost business because of this act. Ask the other privately owned rehab centers in Casper. Not only has Medicare done this because of the new Obamacare provisions, they've also cut the amount of money that they will spend on your care. So much for taking care of our seniors. With complete socialization of medicine comes great cost. Everyone seems to be hypnotized by the so-called free healthcare. They love to name Canada as a model for what our healthcare system should be. Even foreigners get free emergency room care in Canada. I'm sorry, but this isn't free. Everything costs money. Where do you think the government is going to get the money to not only cover your health, but the health care of people who aren't even tax-paying citizens in this country? Answer: from you, from the taxpayer. The government makes their money from the people, so we will be flipping the bill with higher taxes. Don't believe the lie of government-provided health care without a penny in tax increases. It's an oxymoron. With socialism comes the concept of a collective community rather than the individual. This sounds great on the outside. Let me further explain what this actually means. The collective community effort means what you do, what you make, your children, your personal safety, and even your health is no longer your responsibility and no longer belongs to you. This now all becomes part of the group, which is then regulated by the government. There was an MSNBC anchor who recently said, "Children belong to the whole community, not to their parents." She added that we needed to get away from the idea that the children belonging to their parents is something that we don't need to be referring to anymore. So if you have children, then this should be absolutely frightening to you. Not only has the government become Big Brother, it's turning into mom and dad. The rights of the parents to teach their children right from wrong, good from bad, and even the right to discipline your child is being stripped away, and that right given to the government. But this isn't due to the government forcing this on us per se. This is because we gave them this power. We call the cops when our child doesn't wake up for school, rather than talking to them and taking it into our own hands. We rely on the government for too much with our children, and it will be our demise. There are other liberties that I like to call the Bill of Rights that are being attacked. Today, Most school children couldn't even tell you the preamble to the Constitution, let alone what an amendment or the Bill of Rights even are. This lack of education in our rights is what's causing the downfall of them and causing the Constitution to become more obsolete. We have restrictions on our so-called free speech. We have restrictions on our right to bear arms. We have restrictions on our right to unreasonable searches. Our press is now being owned by influential rich politicians and their friends, and are even being bought by foreign entities. There are states that try to circumvent the Sixth Amendment and have trials, even capital ones, go on without a jury. We have the federal government violating the 10th Amendment on a daily basis, meddling in states' issues, and the powers that are reserved to the states are being stripped away. I've just named 6 out of the 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights that are being restricted. These rights are not privileges, which means they cannot be restricted. They're being restricted on the basis of security and for the greater good. But it was Patrick Henry who said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And Ben Franklin who said, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." It was the founding fathers who did not put a greater good clause into the Bill of Rights because they knew the government could use this guise of security to control its people and limit their rights. They passed hate speech laws, which was originally used for a good purpose, but are now using it to silence people who speak out against the status quo. They passed hate crimes, which put crimes against certain people at a higher level than others, thereby contradicting the very thing that they were trying to prevent. They have blamed the senseless murders of children on law-abiding people who choose to exercise their Second Amendment rights. They have continuously violated our Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches in our airports, claiming it's for the greater good. Not even at the height of the Cold War, and there were Soviet spies on our soil, mind you, were their airports such a gross invasion of privacy. This is the signature of the socialist, and it's only the beginning. The only way to stop this is through education. We need to stop the indoctrination of our children in our tax-funded public schools who are supposed to be teaching and not preaching. We need to arm the citizens of this country with knowledge of what America is supposed to be, show them the Constitution and its Bill of Rights are the only way to prosperity. This absolute lunacy and sneaky takeover of our country by socialists has begun, and this is what we were scared of and warned about in the 80s, and it is now coming true. We need to fight. And by fight, I mean at the polls. I mean at our schools with our children, so we can turn the tide back to individualism and family. This has to stop before it's too late, before you become one of the useful idiots who will then be tossed aside once this machine gets what it wants.